right, you ready to go on to a QAnon conspiracy theorist?
Let's move on.
So this is Kirsten Weldon, I think is what we settled on.
Kirsten, I think that's what we settled.
And apparently she has this crazy idea about why Texas got that deep freeze earlier this year.
Aside from climate change?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not climate change.
Okay.
According to her.
Okay.
So they had that freeze out, and they did it with the weather warfare. That would be, the bunker fuel in the ocean and the pulling down the polar vortex, right? With the chemtrails. So they pulled it down and they hit all of Texas. As you know, it had a huge freeze. So yeah, that's what happened. And they usually do it from the Arecibo Observatory when they do their hurricanes and stuff, to pull the hurricane stuff through that Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. But this time the Arecibo Observatory was down. So they did it through the Ecuadorian HARP facility. It was traced there. If you watch my videos, you would see the video. It traced all the way back to the Ecuadorian HARP facility, and that was China testing out their new weapons, weather weapons. And of course, Biden was paid billions of dollars before and got more money for letting them do that to the United States.
I feel like a giant citation fucking need is warranted for this. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that this weather technology actually exists. I know that there's been some like patents put in this because remember, like I said before, conspiracy theorists take a nugget of truth and then they extrapolate from that nugget and they build their narrative, right? Mm-hmm. So the nugget of truth here is that I believe it was Microsoft or somebody has a patent out there for like a weather control device. Okay. And so that's what kind of started this
But it's not a global scale.
No. Well, it's not even like in production. Like they just drew up a patent so that they would have the patent on it.
Sure.
Right. It's not even something that's ever been worked on.
But even the thing that they've drawn, the conception, of it is not a global thing.
Right. So that's the nugget of truth. And so, of course, now there are weather weapons. And apparently China, Biden is selling, I guess, the ability to test on American citizens these weather weapons. And this is coming from a person that just simply doesn't even understand basic science to know that, like, this just isn't possible. No, like this entire situation is not possible on multiple levels.
No, I mean, you can't. They from this observatory in Ecuador, they just pulled, and you can trace it. Mm-hmm. They just pulled the polar vortex down to Texas.
Yeah, I'm guessing, like, originally I thought that the whole weather weapon thing would have been like something local to Texas that like made it freeze or something. But I guess what they're talking about now is how the weather weapon actually manipulated the global like weather front.
That's what I'm saying is it's not and nothing that has ever even been conceptualized has been controlling global natural weather.
Well, like one of the weather weapons that supposedly is in use is out in the Gulf of Mexico. Mm-hmm. Which it would take an obscene amount of power to actually do this, but basically they superheat water so that it feeds the hurricanes and it'll actually create the hurricanes that come. They don't understand that the hurricanes form across the Atlantic and then they move this direction.
Right.
Right. So they think that they control this weather by heating up the water down there at the Gulf of Mexico, and that's what makes the storms more powerful.
Also, if you superheat it, it's like it doesn't just fuel the hurricane. If you superheat it, you know what I mean? Like if you make it super hot,
yeah,
it's not going to form a hurricane.
Well, by superheat, I just mean like raise the temperature of the water, not to like a boiling kind of status.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
I use superheat, but that's just because there's a lot of water.
I got you. Yeah. I just misunderstood. I was like, but then it'll just evaporate.
Well, yeah.
Which I mean would cause Yeah, I don't.
Instead of climate change, they think that somebody is actually out there using devices to make the weather more dangerous. Because it obviously can't be climate change.
Why are they always so big into like booger dogs? Like
Booger dogs.
all the baddies out there doing all the bad things.
I don't know if people know about Booger Dog.
I think we've explained Booger Dog to the Skeptic Mafia before. I don't know.
Basically, Casey was scared as a kid from the Booger Dog that your parents, was it your dad?
It was my aunt.
Your
it
aunt?
was my aunt at first, and then my parents used it too.
Yeah, they scared her with the idea that there was a quote unquote Booger Dog that was going to eat her ankles off or something if she got out of bed
at night.
Yeah.
Which is really rude. I'm still scared of the Booger Dog. But people are like they're so focused and like obsessed with these big bads, the deep state and all these like super kids. Like it's madness. Come on. The only way that two people can keep a secret is if one of them is dead, right? So there is certainly not some big ass cabal of secret keeping fucking people, millions or thousands or whatever of people that are keeping these secrets. It's not possible. It's not.
Also, I think that we would have been able to detect that Biden was paid billions of dollars for something. That would have been a pretty big red flag for like anybody.
And like, here's the thing. If weather weapons existed, people who are in, programs that develop defensive weapons for the United States or defensive systems, not necessarily defensive weapons, but defensive weapons or defensive systems for the United States would be building defensive systems against weather weapons.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. So that's not a thing.
Right.